Behind me, you see some protest boards. Yesterday, I was supposed to be in Bunell, Florida, leading a protest for a young black child by the name of Brendan Dea. On February the 21st of 2023, 17-year-old Brendan Dea of Palm Coast, Florida, assaulted his white teacher's classroom assistant. Chased her out into the hallway, threw her on the ground. Many of you saw the video. He punched her, he kicked her. And although she was Caucasian, I don't believe any woman should ever be attacked, and never by a male. So we don't condone that. But at the same time, the reason why I decided to lead a protest in the honor of that 17-year-old black boy who is now 18 is because at the time of that assault, he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and should have never been in that school. At the time of that assault, he was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder and should have never been in that school. At the time of that assault, he was diagnosed with conduct disorder, ADHD, autism, and anxiety. He should have never been in that school. Why was he there? Special education law is very clear. If the school cannot meet the needs of the child with the disability, you have to pay for him to get his education at a private school. That's the law. So why was Brendan Dea even inside of Palm Coast High School? You know why? White folks didn't want to put the money up to take care of him. They didn't want to put the money up to take care of the boy. But I'm going to go a step further, brothers and sisters. And many of you sitting here today had no interest in joining us this morning. Yesterday morning, excuse me. So the judge decided to delay the sentencing. His white attorney, hired by his white adoptive mother, forced Brendan Dea to plead guilty to the charges. This is after the white attorney told the judge he wasn't competent to stand trial. So if you argued that he wasn't competent to stand trial a few weeks ago, why would you now convince the same boy you said wasn't competent to stand trial to plead guilty to the charges? And I believe the only reason why the judge delayed yesterday's sentencing was to sabotage our protest. I believe that. And I believe the white mother and the white lawyer decided to delay it because they want to make it look like they care about the boy by bringing some professionals into court who they believe can argue and help mitigate the ultimate sentence that the judge is going to hand out. So when the judge comes up with another date, Jacksonville, Florida, to show the closest black community to Bunell, you need to come and stand with me. Because the reason the Brendan Dea case is so important and the consequences are going to have ramifications nationally. If they can take a black boy with a disability who did not get the services, did not get the protection, if they can take this black boy who should have never been in that school with the worst mental illness you can have, second only to schizophrenia, and that's post-traumatic stress, if they can lock him up like a common criminal, if they can lock a 17-year-old boy with those types of special needs like a common criminal, if they can take a black boy with that type of mental illness and treat him like a common criminal, despite what special ed law says, imagine what they can do to your son, with or without an IEP. This case is not about Brendan Dea. This case is about every black boy, and especially the ones in special education. But it gets worse. Guess what led to the assault on the teacher's assistant? A video game called the Nintendo Switch. Allegedly, the teacher took the Switch, he chased the teacher's aide. Now, I might have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Nobody in here is going to convince me that this person took the video game, but he chased this one out of class. That doesn't make any sense. That teacher's assistant triggered that boy somehow, some way. Where is the video of the classroom? We don't have one. So we don't know what happened in that classroom just prior to her running out out and him chasing her out. You know what I would dare argue? Because I know how slow bunnies roll. Especially in public schools. You know too, because you went to public school. That's why you crazy. They pick on our kids. They get them angry. They deliberately trigger them. And that day, Brendan Dea said, I'm not having it no more. That's why she got her ass whooped. And I'm not happy that happened to her because she's a woman with children and no child to see a mother get attacked. But you contributed to this situation. And she got a nerve to get on television and say she don't care if he never gets out of jail. While she raised $100,000 on GoFundMe. How convenient. How convenient. She raised $100,000 or nearly as much on GoFundMe. Do you know Brendan Dea was taking 5 different medications at the time this happened? Why hasn't anybody indicted the drug companies for this? Because if you look at the side effects of the drugs that he was taking, nearly every one of them can lead to violent behavior. Every one of the drugs. Why nobody mentioning the drugs? Why was he even on 5 drugs? Why was he even in that school? Where was his functional behavioral assessment? Where was his positive behavior plan? Most of all, where was his one-to-one aid? You mean to tell me this child is a special ed with an IEP with post-traumatic stress, standing 6'5", nearly 300 pounds, and he don't have a one-to-one aid? We're not condoning what he did. What we're saying is he was more of a victim than the white teachers and assistant he assaulted. And I'm going to go a step further, brothers and sisters. Guess what? Why was the Nintendo Switch even brought into the school? The IEP team requested it so it could be used as a reward. Did y'all hear what I just said? In other words, this incident would have never happened if the school never asked for his video game to be brought into the damn school in the first place. Can I go a step further? Guess what his IEP says on it? According to his mother, Brendan Dea's IEP says, you are never to take video games out of his hand. It's in the paperwork. They completely ignored the paperwork and treated that boy like a common criminal, and nobody is bringing up the errors of the school district. Nobody is bringing up the mistakes of the IEP team. Nobody is holding the principal of Palm Coast High School responsible for what's about to happen to Brendan Dea. And you know what's even crazier? 2 white students in the same high school assaulted their teacher and didn't spend a day in jail. I'm going to say that one more time, in case you think I'm exaggerating. 2 white students in the same high school assaulted their teachers and didn't spend a day in jail, but Brendan been locked up since February 21st, 2023. Now, in the interest of transparency, his white mother did reach out to me. I never called her back because I would trust mothers. But you know what she did reveal? She revealed that she reached out to Benjamin Crump, and Benjamin Crump turned her down. Big Ben the money chaser. She called Ben Crump, who's based in Tallahassee. She would not help. He would not help. Because Benjamin Crump is only about money. The case ain't bringing no money in, he ain't looking at you. Guess who else she looked out for her? NAACP, they turned her down. Because nobody wants to defend a tall, dark-skinned black boy who put his hands on a privileged white female. So that's why we're going to go back to Brunel when we get a new date, and we're going to stand and we're going to protest. Because we're not going to let this black boy go down without doing something about it. The reason I can't bring myself to call that white mother, you had this boy since birth. She didn't get him at 7. She didn't get him at 12. She got him as an infant. So how did he develop post-traumatic stress disorder? How did he develop conduct disorder? You had him since the hospital. How did he develop ADHD? Now, the autism, that could have been genetic, but that post-traumatic stress ain't genetic. That intermittent explosive disorder, not genetic. What happened in your White House that messed this black boy up? Nobody's talking about that. And I don't know if y'all know, but in your state of Florida, Your court system adjudicates more minors as adults than any other state in America. Florida is the school to prison pipeline for black boys. And this is why I've been telling you parents, when I talk about special ed in educational law, even if your child has an IEP, if their infraction involves weapons, drugs, or serious bodily injury, the IEP doesn't protect them. I need y'all to know this. I don't care how many disabilities your son has. If he comes to school and he threatens to hurt somebody, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to blow his school up, even though he's joking, he might only be 5 years old. He will be expelled from public school for the rest of his life. And I'm going to tell you, parents, something. You better get in the habit of telling your children to stop making threats inside of these public schools. Thousands of black boys in preschool and primary school are being expelled for making threats they can't even carry through. Snow Bunny knows he can't do it, but it don't matter. He's black, and he's the enemy. And what a lot of you don't understand, especially black mothers, even though I've been preaching this for 25 years, the white power structure does not differentiate amongst black males when it comes to punishment. Whether your son is 5, 15, 25, or 55, he will be dealt with the same. White America does not allow a period of adolescence for black boys. And why is this important, especially for my black mothers? The reason why this is so important is a lot of you black mothers are in the habit of giving your sons multiple times to mess up before they get a punishment. You're conditioning your boys to believe that there's always another chance. There are no second chances in white man's world. Brendan Dea didn't get a second chance, even though he should have never been in that situation to begin with. So y'all better get serious about the discipline in your house. Because you set yourself up for failure by making them think you can always talk your way out of a punishment. And black men, we got to be held accountable because those of us who are in the community, because a lot of you live in white neighborhoods, you only act black during Kwanzaa and Black History Month. Let's be honest. When you leave here, half of you going to a white neighborhood. It might be one other Negro family on the block, but that's it. We should be helping these women with these sons. They shouldn't be struggling to raise boys. In our culture, the male children are the responsibility of the men, not the mothers, the men. But every time we have a conversation about black boy dysfunction, everybody points to the mothers. Nowhere in our culture are women responsible for raising men. Nowhere! That's the whole purpose for a rite of passage. Where is ours in Jacksonville? Where is ours in Tampa? Where is ours in Orlando? Where is ours in Brunel and Palm Coast and Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood? If we want to save the black community, it starts with black men taking accountability for black boys, not just the ones your wife gave birth to, but all of them. Because in African culture, children don't belong to families, they belong to communities. So whether the father is there or not is irrelevant because the other fathers are there. This is exactly why in African culture, every adult woman is an auntie, every elder is a grandma, every adult man is an uncle. Because it's all for one and one for all. But the problem with the American Negro is we suffer from supreme selfishness. It's the Achilles heel. It don't matter how much you know about African history. It don't matter how much you study. It don't matter how many trips to Africa you've been on. It don't know how many African languages you can speak. It don't matter. At the end of the day, most of us operate on a European paradigm of supreme selfishness. Supreme selfishness.